I never really heard anyone say, "Oh, I can't wait to take the FCATs and finally do it," or "Oh, I can't wait to take the FSATs." Um, High stakes testing, which are state tests, are really stressful for students. And I can say that for myself because I always felt very pressured taking these tests when I was younger. Um, it's we don't realize sometimes how important it is, like for them, and like how like it impacts their future so much. Their performance on these tests literally determines their immediate future because if you fail the test, then you might have to repeat the grade. So it's really, really pressure. And at the end of the day, they're still kids and, they want to have fun and learn, but like cater to them, not taking these ridiculous tests. Or they might have to repeat the school year again, and they could be denied their diploma or attend summer school, and no one likes any of those things, especially repeating a grade again. And then there's an alarming statistic that since the No Child Left Behind Act was implemented, the United States was ranked 18th in the world in math. And in 2009, after 8 years of having the No Child Left Behind Act, the U.S. ranked 31st in math in the world. So it's dropped a significant amount of levels since then. So that makes the United States a less competitive country in the eyes of the world. And it's really, really wrong because at the end of the day, a test should just be a test. Having a child's future depend on a test puts too much pressure on on students who are so young, and it shouldn't make or break a student's future. A child may not be so skilled in what is tested, like math and reading, which is usually the common subjects that are tested. I know I could speak for myself that I'm awful at math, and that was one thing that I really struggled with on these tests. I passed, but math was definitely not one of my strengths. I could say that history and science were my strengths, but they're never tested. At least not where I lived in New York. We weren't tested on those. Um, but like a student could be really good at arts, they could be really good at music, and none of that stuff is tested. And they could be really creative but be really awful at math, or just really be bad at test taking and get super nervous. So having a big test is inevitable in life, but there are very few tests that adults will face that affects their future as much as like for these children. And the thought of failing these tests can create worry and fear within the children, and it can affect how they learn. And in the later years, it can also affect how they learn. And what should be done about it? Parents and teachers can evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of these tests to make important votes at the school board. And then also as for teachers, it puts a lot of pressure on them because if a lot of their students don't end up doing good, it could be blamed on them, and they're not able to teach what they want to teach, not in the same teaching style. They have to follow this rigid curriculum for the students, and it kind of takes away from their creativity. So at the end of the day, it affects everyone, and it shouldn't really be done to determine a child's future. There should be other ways of testing how a student is doing.